Hey howdy! Icarus here, with another little update. Due to some technical issues, we had to reshoot certain scenes for this week's episode, which is also why it's late. So if you hear a difference in microphones and sound quality, just know that that is the reason why. Thankfully, this was the last episode that needed reshoots, so every episode after this, from here on, will have the same sound quality throughout. As always, thanks for listening, and enjoy the episode.
What now lies in wait to be discovered in the tales of D'aowVern?
Hello, and welcome back to the Strangers Guild, Strangers and Friends. We are in a cave of sorts. Before we get into that, I will introduce the rest of our players. I am Caleb the Bard. For this campaign, I am the DM. All of our socials, as always, are linked and posted in the center here. Thank you for everyone who has contributed art and creative influence on this campaign. We're just getting going, but we have a lot of things in store. Our players have a lot for you today, starting with our bard, Lady M. Would you like to introduce yourself and plug whatever you would like to plug, and then we'll just go down the list.
Hello, my name is Betty. I play Lady M, a resident bard. I am who.the.lovely on TikTok and Instagram. I'm excited.
Hi, howdy, my name is Sabrina, and I play Nortia Thornwood, the wonderful wizard of the group. Heard, retweet, Betty.
Hello, I'm Freckle. I play Yarrow, our sorcerer, and you can find me at Freckleworks or Freckled Aquarius on just about every social media platform.
And I am Icarus, and I am playing Dianthus, who's the Death Domain cleric. Bit of an asshole, but it's okay. You can find me just about everywhere at IICARYS. And if you can't find me there, put an underscore between the IIs, and you'll find me that way.
Aye.
All right. If we want to do a quick recap of last episode, basically, in entering Lady M's garden, you found some weird transversal magic that kind of got you in a new place. You're not quite sure where that is yet, where you were confronted by what you could presume to be a blood hunter. He fought you guys. Not quite sure why yet. It was kind of an interesting combat. You learned a couple new things about your characters, about kind of just some of the mechanics of, I think, Dianthus, right? That was a little new.
That was scary.
Some firsts for you guys.
Yarrow went down.
Yeah, that was a close call. Y'all are now level 3.
Yes.
That's exciting. Yarrow, could you give me just a base constitution check?
Yeah.
This is just to see kind of how you're feeling.
Oh well, that's a 10.
10. Yarrow, you're not feeling great. I mean, you did have probably
Understandable.
your closest brush with death. And as you kind of take inventory of yourself, your wounds are healed at this point. I believe Dianthus did heal you at the end of the combat.
Yeah, I gave you a little cure wounds.
However, this magic that Dianthus possesses is not your typical like genie warm magic. The healing and the state of your body is still very stiff, and you feel a slight tinge of your magic as a kind of how it has been. but with a little more intensity, kind of just hovers around you. The threads that you kind of see connecting everything. A collection of that thread pulls in your hand, and a collection of these marbles that you've been seeing kind of weigh on you. Not heavy, but it's a noticeable weight as you feel these take a physical form. Could you give me an Arcana check?
That's an 8.
Okay. So with an 8, Yarrow, you're holding these marbles, and you can actually see one forming from the events that your group just went through. However, before that one fully coalesces, you can't tell if it's because you tapped it or because this is all new to you, but the rest of the group is bathed in a stark red and gray light, almost as if a projector has turned on, and it's like a spotlight around all of you guys. As Yarrow, it becomes apparent, before you're able to literally pull it back in, the scene of Dianthus with his blade in Hemlock's chest apparates, and each member of the group responds in kind. But, Yarrow, there is a moment where your magic kind of warms the space, right? Because as most magic does, it takes a lot of power, a lot of energy. But you do feel a slight sense of cold coming from one Death Domain cleric, as although you cannot see his eyes, Dianthus had asked you to not show this part. As quick as it is there, and Yarrow, your visual that you present comes quickly and bright and confuses the people who have not seen this before. But when it shuts off, it leaves everyone's eyes kind of adjusting back to the dimly lit cave. As you all look around, maybe a tense silence for a second.
Yara was immediately trying to shove the marbles into his pocket or something. Act like it did not happen.
Yarrow, it's kind of like collecting batteries. As you pick them up, they have a solid form, but when a marble of yours is used, it gives off a heat. So you do kind of feel that, and it makes it to where you can kind of do a mental note of which marbles produce which memory, but you do get it under control. Would anyone else like to say anything?
I'm not saying a fucking word. I'm not saying a thing.
I am purposely
I'm
avoiding eye contact with you.
seething right now, but I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
Nortia takes out her notebook and is writing in it and just slightly glancing up in between Yarrow and Dianthus and just writing very silently.
Emma's still kind of reeling from what she saw from Dianthus 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
When they turned into a dark spectral shape and murdered Yarrow, and then brought them back simultaneously.
That. Yeah.
That was wild and crazy. So anyway, I think Em is more than anything just watching Dianthus and sees this anger and is not mechanically holding an action, but is ready to do something if Dianthus is about to go nuclear again.
Interesting.
The coins that Zahan put in, I think it was Nortia's hand, that opened a little pathway already, right? Or it was starting to.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just gonna turn and without a word start walking down whatever that path was. I don't want to talk to any of you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to think about it. I'm just gonna leave. Wherever the light's taking me, I'm going.
Okay.
Em is immediately second.
As this scene resolves, and this awkwardness with this relatively new group, you guys haven't been traveling together all that long up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start to follow what you presume is the exit to the cave. Dianthus, you mentioned how you don't usually say much, and especially in a moment like this, trying to preserve your secrets.
Yeah.
The way you march has a don't mess with me undertone that I think most of the group would understand. However, as you get moving, Dianthus, kind of like before, as you walk into the cave, you turn and you no longer see Yarrow and M, as it is just you, Nortia, and Donna. Yarrow and Lady M, I'll get to you in a second. Nortia, can you give me a charisma saving throw?
Hell yeah, I can. She's beauty, she is grace, she is an 8.
We're doing
You know,
great.
they can't all be winners.
They can't all be nat
okay.
20s.
And that's okay. And that's okay. Nortia, Dianthus, for how gristly and thick his armor looks, he walks with a eerie silence. Donna is used to these kinds of encounters and doesn't say much of anything either. But Nortia, the confusion and the adrenaline of what has just happened, you feel it as your heartbeat races. Your breath gets away from you. And even though it's not a pitch black cave necessarily, it starts to get dark. And Sabrina, you feel this panic set in. And I'll say on an 8, you don't even recognize when you fall asleep. Donna does catch you. And Dianthus, if you care to look,
Sure.
you would see a light pink-purple glow as the place on Donna's armor where Nortia's cheek rests hums with a warm but neutral energy. As Nortia, you hear a voice. And I don't know if you've heard this before. Or if you have, it hasn't been like this. But the voice doesn't speak words necessarily. Or if they are, they're not words that you understand. But the soothing tone, even in your sleep, you can feel your body. Because this isn't like an arcane thing. This is a typical, things just got away from you. You passed out from the excitement, the fear. And you feel I don't think Nortia would know what kind of magic it is. But Sabrina would know that the very bones and fingers of Nortia can now give a kind of soothing touch, which Sabrina and I will talk about the D&D mechanics of this little homebrew that we pulled up. You feel this, Nortia, and this soothing, this warmth. You feel your heartbeat and your breathing come back to normal just in time for the sky to open back up as you come to a natural, jolt as the sun hits your face and Donna gives you a not aggressive, just a light, hey, we made it, kind of nudge. As Dianthus, you stand with these two at the end of this cavern. I will say, if you turn around, the opening is not there anymore.
Huh.
Is there anything I would like to say to each other in this moment?
You awake now?
Yes.
Are you going to stay awake?
Yes.
All right.
Nortia reaches for Dianthus from where she is in Donna's arms to place a hand on his shoulder.
What are you doing?
She pulls her hand back and grabs it. I'm sorry. I just thought I could help. And she puts her hands crossed on her.
He's gonna bite his tongue from saying, do not touch me. I think he's just going to turn his attention to their immediate surroundings, specifically for the rest of the group that just poof disappeared. Are they here? Are they present? Have we lost them in the dark?
Where'd they go?
Where'd they go?
I will say we do cut back to Yarrow and Lady M. Is there anything the two of you would like to say as the rest of the group disappears?
We're still just in the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
They were right here.
I'm so fucking sick of this. Wait, we just start scratching at the walls? Wait, do we know which direction we were going?
It's fairly
Are we
obvious.
just-
It's one of those things.
Okay.
This isn't like a maze as much as it is kind of like the battle area you just left. There's a obvious path that I would say probably with Lady M's background feels a little semi-fey, but it's not hostile. It's mostly meant to either deter intruders or to, send back some of the locals. But you can start walking and it's not too complicated. But it is just the two of you as you kind of walk through.
They must have walked ahead or something, or all the magic
Probably that slow.
going on. Perhaps.
Are you feeling okay?
Better than before. Thank you. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. As we're walking, I'm saying this. You've known Dianthus a long time?
A few years, long enough.
They've never done something like that?
No. I mean, I assumed the magic stuff is all new, so that's a new development in our friendship.
Do you trust them to control it?
I mean, it was kind of hard to make out what I saw. I'm sure whatever it is, they'll get the hang of it, just like we will get the hang of our own magic.
I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you. I'm glad you're okay as well. I'm not used to all the violence.
What? I don't mean this insultingly, but I don't really understand what you do in your tower, Yarrow.
You sit there and do nothing. I do a bunch of stuff. Research. I help people in town with whatever they may need. Historian stuff. It's eclectic.
Not violent.
No. I mean, yours doesn't seem very violent at all either. Yeah, you thought. Seems like a rather calm place to be.
Sure, yeah. Not violent in this way, no. No, but I'm no stranger to it. Seems Dianthus isn't either. Nortia held her on too.
She did. Everyone seemed to do relatively well.
Lady M, can I get a perception check?
Yes, you can.
Oh boy.
Did not even get my dice out. just like I was
Nortia
told.
handled herself well. Honk shoe, honk shoe, honk shoe.
She's taking a little nap.
Totally completely asleep.
If this was an anime, it would definitely be the cut of just like Nordia going into the panic attack and just passing out.
Right, she held it off for a long bit.
22.
Nice.
Lady M, you feel a magic. And with your background, you know that it's probably not best to let Yarrow know what you are sensing. But there is a shadow that has followed you from the garden. And just before something could happen, Yarrow, you would feel a cold draft kind of blow past you as y'all get to the end of the cave.
uh,
I'm
You
good.
feel the shadow kind of hit your feet.
Uh.
And just before you know what's about to be said, the two of you get into the clearing and turn, and the tunnel is gone. It's a beautiful
A
day,
little chilly.
but there is that feeling of being followed just on the back of your necks.
Ooh, it's a little chilly.
A little chilly.
Just a little chill.
Brisk. Bit brisk. Do we see our people?
You do, but I'm going to cut back to the other group real quick to say, Dianthus, as you are the first person out of the tunnel, you do feel a kind of, as you step out, a hand kind of, not aggressively, but quickly, kind of grab your arm as you turn and you see KAAL. Are the Dianthus?
I had my hand like on the hilt of my sword, ready to fucking drive him
It's
through.
definitely one of those things you're like,
Yeah.
and then you realize who it was.
Where the fuck did you go?
It's a bit complicated, but
Really?
I talked to Zahan. We should be good.
Good for what?
There was a bit of a miscommunication, I will admit, but we'll explain everything.
I'll wait until the other two come over and join us before I go anywhere. Because I'll
And
be
this is-
honest, bitches need to hold me back from killing Zahan when we see him.
This is the moment where everyone kind of comes together.
Nordia looks up at Donna. Would you mind setting me down?
Of course. And she, very gingerly, she's stronger than, I don't want to say than she looks, because she is pretty, like, big, right? But it is remarkably easy for her to hold you and set you down.
Sorry, I was just thinking about strong women. Anyway. Thank you. And Nordia's counting heads and making sure that everyone's
Gunnar!
here.
Is Gunnar with us?
Gunnar was rather quiet, just from fighting with the new group, feeling out new dynamics, the awkwardness with Nortia a little bit. You do notice that he was split from the group, kind of in that same way, whenever the tunnels branched off and stuff. Dianthus, you see Gunnar's actually already at the table that the rest of you see. As this clearing opens up, it's roughly half a foot of grass in, a light breezy kind of area. I would say probably none of you. Actually, if I could get a history check from everybody.
History. Bam. 19 plus 23.
21.
21.
Hey!
Hey.
1.
No!
Oh.
Yay. M does not
So,
know anything.
Lady M has
Em knows
never.
nothing.
M has never seen
That's
this place.
She's the
Yarrow,
information, not for me.
Not for me.
Yarrow and Dianthus would know this place geographically because of, I would say, Yarrow, because of your research, stuff in your tower. There's a bunch of maps and stuff. Dianthus, you would know that a good portion, probably a solid third of the medical attention you give to people is from this area. It is the training ground. It's kind of underground, mostly because it's kind of hard to find. Up until recently, there wasn't an arcane barrier, but up until the Breakone event, you would know that there was a secret connection of underground tunnels and secret back doors to buildings that would lead here to different members of various guilds, to guards that don't necessarily stand with the goals of the Fallen Sun group. So the Royal Guard of the Fallen Sun is the full name of the guards in town. But yeah, so essentially this is a training ground. Nordia, you would have been here once before. You and Atlas were working on a story a while back. Nortia, I'm going to send you a message.
Oh my gosh!
Secret.
Do I get
Secret?
secret?
On Discord, there's going to be a little whisper there.
Oh my god.
What do you know?
What to say?
What is it? Tell us.
I don't know. I don't know what I know.
As we see the clearing kind of open up, it's on a cliffside, not in a very gruesome way, but it's, just natural breeze. As you see various trainings, there's fields where some wooden fenced area is for those practicing on horseback. Different combat scenarios are set up to where there's even like stone arrangements that have been put out so people could practice their magics or their archery or kind of whatever combat scenario they imagine. But in the middle, kind of with the beach front in the background, there's a table, kind of long. You get the idea that it kind of arranges itself to the size it's needed, because as people approach the table, it kind of grows and shifts. As you see Zahan at the head, talking to Gunnar in not secretive, but hushed tones. You see a small gnome woman who some of you saw back in the cave, healed up at this point, kind blue eyes, very small, a little weathered. You can tell she's, even for a gnome, she's kind of old. But she sits there laughing with other members. Lady M, you would see D, kind of face buried as if trying to become invisible in this moment. But yeah, everyone is here. This is, up to this point, everyone that y'all have had whatever sort of conflict with.
Caleb, just a question. Is Zahan facing us, or is he turned away?
Has he
from us?
noticed?
I will.
Does he look at me and I look at him?
Theater of the mind, right? I will say that you all can come up to the table however you wish. If you would like to, I don't know, sneak up on him or...
Oh, I would love to sneak up on him.
Okay, if you could give me a stealth check.
Okay, I'd love to do that.
Can I
Okay.
give Nordia advantage because I want to go around to the other side of the table and sit at the head of the table opposite Zahan? So I want to
Okay.
Can I give
Yeah.
Nordia advantage by doing that? Okay, cool.
Thank
Yeah.
you. 18 plus 1.
Ooh.
Okay. Before we get to that, Yarrow and Dianthus, are you two approaching just normally, or...
I'm not gonna sit down at all.
Okay.
I might stand a little ways away, just feel it out.
Yarrow's probably approaching as well, just kind of following whatever everyone else is doing. So, if people are sitting down, he'll maybe sit down.
Yarrow, can you give me a investigation check?
Yes. That is a 12.
I'll tell you what that was for. But first, Nortia, what would you like to do or say to Zahan?
Nordia gets behind Zahan and kind of is peeking over and looking at him and feels a surge of confidence from her bestie at the end of the table. And she taps on his shoulder, and over his shoulder she says, "I told you not to underestimate us."
Yeah.
You feel this sense of, he tenses, and then, still reflecting some of his arrogance, relaxes. He grabs a drink, takes a swig, puts it back down on the table. I'm sorry for the confusion. You proved rather capable. I will
For a
admit.
second there, Zahan, it looked like you were a little bit scared of me. It's okay. I don't bite.
Oh my god.
Fear can be useful, little one.
Nortia's fine, but Sabrina just passed away.
The way that Betty flew off screen was really
I
funny.
said, I can't do this today. Not today.
Nortia looks at him and for a second, like, remembers, like, kind of like, she already hit him over the head with, like, a literal item. She doesn't need to hit him over the head with the fact that she did it, you know?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So she smiles and she goes, quite right.
Nordia, over the next few minutes, he, because they were all kind of eating, but you all do get the idea that this is sort of a meeting. You see that on one side, probably his left, he has a stack of, not disorganized, but strewn across the table is various papers that have kind of profiles on each of you. And Yarrow, I will say your investigation check was to notice that in the middle of the table, again, not hidden from any one person, but it does require a little bit of peeking, shifting a plate, moving a glass. You recognize some of the maps of the city that bear your mark of whenever you document and have either printed, meaning that you have written some of these maps, or collected them and made record of them for the historians of D'aowVern. Somehow, someone has brought some of your maps and historical record to this place.
What the fuck?
Is it Zahan who's looking at him, or they're
It's
just
kind
on the
of
table?
everybody. At this point, they're being shown to the other people at the table. So it's kind of everybody. You can see that's probably one of the things Gunnar and Zahan were talking about. I will say you do get the idea that Gunnar probably didn't know just because he showed up with you guys. And I'll say you couldn't really tell who brought it, but it's also not new. This is probably a collection of material that, because Yarrow, hate to admit, you were a little unorganized whenever the Breakone event started. A little bit. You would recognize your own handwriting, your own work.
Right.
But
yeah, whoever is like nearest to me, I'll just be like, how did they get? Where did these get here?
you do see a small smirk from the gnome woman. Oh dear, you'll figure it out later. There's much to discuss in the meantime.
Sure, right. I mean, I would prefer to know now, if possible.
Give me a persuasion check.
Yay! Am I good at these? 7.
Oh my god.
I'm not good at these.
I'll say, Yarrow, you get this. She's nice. She means well. You also, I would say on a 7, you don't know how to place it. But the person who collected this material is not here.
Okay.
There's no one who gives, guilty vibes or, sneaky vibes. There's a weird energy to the table, but the person who stole these are not here.
Okay,
Nordia,
I'm just
you
gonna
see
keep an eye on that.
you see Zahan's papers in the profiles of each of the members of your party. There is a stack of contracts. Not in the sense of like ownership or arcane contracts. I'm not talking like warlock, right? Like sell your soul type deal. But as far as the operation that they have here, it becomes apparent through the jovial mutterings of those around the table that And I would say this would also remind you, Nortia, of the encounter with the flyers whenever you were made to jump with them. This was a very similar, if a little more dangerous test for you guys.
So I'll say first, Dianthus, you walk up to KAAL, and just on your passives, right? Like, this isn't a high stress situation anymore. You notice that KAAL pretty clearly see that he's like drinking and enjoying the festivities out of like almost a duty and not a. This is not him having fun, so to speak.
Gotcha. Is everyone else at the table enjoying it though?
For the most part.
You look like you're being held hostage.
Diane, how are we doing?
How do you think?
That was fun, wasn't it?
Is that your definition of fun?
A good performance is always fun. However, I think, and he looks and he catches a glimpse from Donna and from Zahan. I wish this was as recreational as it's meant to seem.
Are we in danger, KAAL?
Before he was speaking, this time there's a bit of a direct mental link. I don't know whose ears to trust. This is maybe not the space to speak of such things. After lunch, eat up, Dianthus. And he says that part out loud. It's like, eat up, Dianthus, and kind of like motions for you to sit down. Lady M, you catch, kind of like you're CC'd on an email, you do catch the mental conversation between those two. You couldn't hear what was being said before and after that, but you hear just the mental link of the conversation.
There's food on the table?
Mm-hmm.
Are there grapes?
Oh.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sitting across from Zahan. Is gonna pick a grape off of the table and say to Zahan, confusion is a funny way to describe violence. Violence isn't confusing. It is black and white. There are sides. What side do you want us to be on, Zahan?
Oh, I love her.
Oh!
Give me an insight check.
Oh my god.
I want to fight. Oh, that fell on the floor.
It's on the run.
I wonder what it was. Hold on, it's really, really down here. Oh. Okay, if it was bad, can I roll it again?
4.
Doesn't count. Okay,
Doesn't count.
On the table.
Nice. What was this? Insight?
Mm-hmm.
16.
All right.
16. Okay. You see a man who exudes false confidence. He's a leader. He is a capable fighter. But you see it, you would know, even in you saying this, that conflict is not always black and white, right? The winner isn't always the person who wins the battle, but also people can fight for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady M, you see a distrust on his eyes towards some, but not all members of the group. And when I say group, I don't mean your party. Sure. I mean, as he looks around the training ground, there are people that are fighting that on that insight, I would say some of them are on his team, but some of these people are just fighters, or thieves, or criminals, potentially cultists. And this attitude that he's giving is, and you would see him looking at the papers on the table, and you would see a look you haven't Lady M, for a long time of someone in a position of power looking to you, and for a brief second, there's a plea behind his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he picks up a grape, kind of sassy, starts to give a level of disregard to you,
Sure.
and starts talking again to Gunnar, maybe throwing out a snide comment to Dianthus or KAAL.
So he doesn't answer my question?
Oh, cool. Am I allowed to be mean to him now?
I'll give
Sure.
a look to Dianthus.
I
Sick 'em.
haven't. Sick 'em. I have not sat down. I think I've more or less just been like walking around the table, getting like, counting heads. Who's here? I think besides D, I didn't see the gnome. I think besides D, I wouldn't recognize anybody else at the table, right?
Sure. So yeah, it was D, the gnome, Zahan.
Yeah.
There's your party
Right.
that you would all know. There are a couple other members. Dianthus, as you approach the table, multiple individuals leave, save for Zahan, the gnome woman,
Mm-hmm.
and D. A couple people either are disgruntled by your appearance, by you being there. Give me actually a perception check.
For sure. 13.
13. I would say a group of roughly, you can't really count because it's kind of fast, right? And they kind of spread out real quick. Roughly 6 people leave the table, and you're not able to pick up a lot, but you do recognize 2 familiar injuries. As you remember, a man who came in and he at the shoulders had both of his arms ripped off.
Ah!
And so you, with the help of some of the artificers in town, had reattached these 2 metal, completely bionic arms onto this guy.
Sick.
Something you would see that is new, however, is before they were controlled by a series of mechanisms, pulleys, gears, that sort of thing. Now these arms roar with a subtle but very hot fire, as you feel an arcane energy give these hands a supernatural dexterity. And then there's another man who you recognize having come to you before, with an injury on his eye, a entire kind of wrap. There's like an eye patch, but with like a bandage over it. I would say it probably didn't matter to Dianthus why
No, they never
that
ask
had
questions. No.
And I would say on that perception check, you don't really know kind of who this guy is, but they all leave.
Okay.
And then you are able to approach Zahan.
Is there like a little knife? I could grab on the table?
Sure.
Great. I'd like to just, as I'm walking by, pick one up because I really, really want to just stab it down into his plate as I approach him.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
Fantastic. I don't think I'm good at that. 18.
Okay.
I'm great at it, actually.
There's a sense of maybe Dianthus could have been overreaching. Like, there's a lot of people there, and you feel, yourself shift a little bit, but you do catch right in between 2 of his fingers. The blade hits his dish. Could I help you, Dianthus?
You said somebody told you that I bring death. If you don't want me to do that, answer why we're here.
You bring death.
Your words.
My job with this group of ruffians is to try to minimize how much death is brought to D'aowVern, or to direct it when needed. In a lot of ways, I was testing you.
For what?
You remember what happened at the tavern? myself and some of my men saw what you did. How do we know we can trust you, Harbinger?
Because if I wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
Is that why the tiefling's still here?
What, Yarrow? You talking about Yarrow? Now, just to clarify, this in callback to me in the cave? Okay, because I don't remember that, right? I don't know what happened.
Right.
Okay, cool. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm assuming he's talking about, like, the tavern still?
Uh-huh.
Why would I? No, what?
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh, fuck. With my -1, for sure. 6!
Dianthus, up to this point, right, your blade is in his meal, right? You're talking to him kind of in his face.
Oh, yeah. No, a bit of kiss right
There's
now?
a-
Right there.
There's a moment where you think he doesn't believe you. And he looks around. This just got interesting. Tell you what. You and your friends, feel free to let off some steam. Direct your magic. Figure out what you're fighting for. We'll talk later, Dianthus. For now, figure out quite what your affliction or affiliation with death really is before you hurt someone.
Ooh!
Yarrow, you are sitting, to your left is a small human girl. You recognize the kind of clumsy D from earlier, but you do feel noticeably almost giant sitting between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, they might probably like look between the two here. Everyone else is probably preoccupied or something, and just, do you know where we are? To the lady, no, something.
My name's Anya. Nice to meet you. She extends a hand that is
Hi.
like covered in gravy. Like, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm Yarrow. She's gonna shake her hand and then wipe it just like on the table.
Yarrow, as this happens, you feel very small, a gnome, very small. But there is, in the moment that your hands touch, there is a barely and only arcanely visible white flame that surrounds this woman. She is powerful. And you look around the table and you feel as if there is more arcane energy in this little gnome than like everyone else at the table. And then she lets go and continues eating and is once again a little, super excited to be there. This is KAAL. This is the some call it the fields. But to others, it's more of a training ground. This is where people go to find people, either for adventures or for guild duties or for other things. And she very obviously doesn't look at anyone else at the table. It's kind of like stares off into the distance. Anyway, not really my thing. I'm more of a trainer in the arcane, and she has like a chicken leg in front of her, and it like bursts into flame, and she like kind of throws it behind her and just like keeps eating. She's like, I'm just here to help with those that are gifted, like you. She keeps eating.
That takes them aback a bit. Like, oh, that's good to know. Thank you. Do you know? Are you from here, or did you come from somewhere else? And do you know how? Are you familiar with how to like get in and out?
For a moment, like she drops pretense. Who let you in? It's not usually a question that needs answering once you're this far into it.
I'm very directionally challenged.
She Give me another deception check.
Oh, damn it. Okay, that was good. What am I doing again? Deception. Right?
Deception.
That was an 18 plus 4, 22.
This gnome woman, she finishes eating, still kind of covered, very quickly, like, prestidigitates herself, is, like, cleaned, and is like, you are coming with me. She hops down and grabs you by your hand and, like, pulls you away from the rest of the group.
You're just like, guys. Just like,
Make the motion to stand up.
She turns to those who kind of, like, stand in a pose, and I'll say, give me an insight check for those who would interfere in this.
Hold on. 25.
It's very
Another-
sweet, but if everybody's rushing towards it, Nortia's like, one of us gotta stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Y'all rolled pretty well. I will say those that rolled lower get the idea that, like, you don't want to mess with this woman. But those, you said, what was that, Dianthus? You got a
24.
24.
Or 25. I bet, 25.
Everyone's seen someone find a toy and get so excited because it's, like, limited edition, or it's nostalgic, or for whatever reason there's, like, a sense of, like, no one gets to play with this until I get to play with this. There's no aggressive energy. The only assertive aspect of it is, like, you are coming with me. Like, none of this, like, you get the idea, Yarrow, that the magic aspect is completely separate from what is going on with the rest of the table. And Dianthus, you do get a moment of, like, concern immediately, but, like, it's okay.
Yarrow, you can't see my eyes, but you can feel my eyes on you. I'm not gonna sit back down until you give me the okay.
I think first he's just gonna ask the gnome, just be like, where are we going? Because my friends are over here and I don't want to go too far. Can we stay close by?
Oh, they'll be able to see us. Well, okay, you gotta kind of walk. Okay, so, and she goes up to KAAL, it whispers in her ear, and you see, like, Are you sure? Okay, all right. KAAL looks up at you and is like, Yarrow, did you get the chance to eat?
I got, like, one thing.
Very quickly, he kind of, like, almost like a mage hand, but more rush. Just very quickly kind of, like, wraps a plate, gives it to you, and he leans in your ear. She's going to be tough on you, but the magic that this woman has, learn as much as you can. And he pushes the two of you and, kind of puts an arm around Dianthus, like, forcing a drink in your hand. It's like, let them be. They'll be fine.
Okay, I guess I'll be back then.
Sit back down on the table and sit down.
Gives you guys a very hesitant thumbs up.
Yarrow, the last thing, as this surprisingly dexterous gnome kind of, like, pulls you away, Zahan reaches back, grabs your wrist, and you feel a moment of, you think he's gonna, like, try to pull on you or something, but you feel his pinky and ring finger drop a very small satchel into your hand, and he lets go, and then joins the rest of the festivity. And then the gnome woman pulls you away from the group, and you have in your hand a pouch about this big that you get the feeling you don't want to look at right at this moment.
Okay. I think there's that temptation for a second of wanting to, but ultimately they'll decide, like, okay, and kind of just tuck it away into a pocket.
All right. And Yarrow is off, and the rest of you are at the table. What do y'all do?
Nortia is gonna turn to Gunnar, and she's gonna say, Gunnar.
Gunnar kind of stands up as you speak, kind of, like, knocking the plates and the stuff. He's like, My lady, I'm sorry. I'm not as good with words as my friends here.
Nortia reaches up and grabs Gunnar's hand. And she goes, "You don't need to apologize. I know exactly what was, well, I have an idea of exactly what was going on. And I think that if somebody is going to put their trust in us to save people, then I think you were a worthy foe to prove our point."
Nordia, you feel in this moment a straightening and a composure. If I ever raise my blade to you again, my title, my duty is yours. And he kind of takes his hand away and walks from the table.
Oh my god!
God did it.
Oh my gosh.
Wowza! Anyway, flushes a little bit, and she automatically, her eyes dart towards her comfort person. She's looking right at Lady M.
We'll go after him.
Yes. And she stands up from the table and goes after Gunnar.
Okay. So that happens, and we are left. I will say, as this moment kind of unfurls, Dianthus, the sobered look that KAAL had given you before, is immediately contradicted with a very quick rush from the table. He stands up, puts his hand on your chest, and says, "Move." And the two of you walk off.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Lady M, you would notice a remarkably quiet D trying to sneak away from the table.
Don't think I didn't see you. Come, sit.
Give me a persuasion check at disadvantage.
What? Why? She's my bestie. Dee and I are friends. Well, persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I'm good at that. Let's see. Persuasion. Plus 8. 8 plus 3 is 8, 9, 10, 11.
Lady M, D books it. As I described earlier, there is a at the end of the clearing, there's this, what you would presume to be a training ground. There's various wooden pillars, amalgamation of rock, and D is surprisingly fast as she kind of disappears into, it's roughly 50 to 100 feet from the table, but into
Okay,
this kind
so
of like
far.
training area.
Okay, I will, she bolts. I'm gonna sigh deeply. Another really aggressive pointed look at Zahan, and I'm gonna put both my hands on the flat of the table to stand up. I'm gonna take another grape and eat it with all of the intensity that says, "I know you need me more than I need you." Chomp.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna turn around and follow D.
Yeah.
Lady M, as you get to clearing and you kind of step in, you have dealt with this type of encounter before where someone doesn't want to be seen, or I don't want to say D's playing with you, because you know D. This is more of someone avoiding their like older sister or something because they don't want to get in
Right.
trouble, right?
Sure.
With that being said, once you get away from the table, you do feel that same twinge of shadow as it reaches out to you. And you feel a little bit of a cold energy emanating from the whip that you carry.
I'll put my hand kind of on my skirt. It sits under my skirt, so I'll just kind of put my hand on that area and bunch the. I'll flatten out the fabric a little bit. And I'm in the clearing, and I know Dee is here.
Mhm.
I'm not mad, Dee. And I'll just kind of look around. I didn't know you could fight like that. I'm looking for her. I'm trying to see if I can spot her.
I just rolled a nat 1 for D's stealth check.
Yes.
You hear a slight jostle as the rocks that are on top of one of the stones behind you fall, and you hear a hit as D kind of pop, 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 lands on their feet. I'm sorry, Lady M. I didn't want you to be mad.
I'm not. I wish you were fighting with me instead of against me.
Well, the leader, Zahan, he said we couldn't pick favorites, and we had to, make sure that y'all were capable, and I didn't want to tell him about your stuff, so I had to pretend you were just the shopkeep and come at you like I didn't know about her.
As she's kind of talking, I'm gonna walk up next to her and lean against the stone. Zan's kind of a dick, isn't he?
You see she kind of nervously looks around, making sure, he's not there or something. Yeah, he kind of is.
I am not... This is kind of what we do at the shop, right? We make things that can hurt people, and then we give them to people who hurt the people that need to be hurt. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do I need to hurt Zahan, D?
He's not that kind of bad person, my lady. I think he hurts himself enough.
What is this place? Who are these people? This is... I love this heart-to-heart that we're having. I'm viscerally and desperately confused.
This is the training grounds.
Uh-huh.
This is where I figured out how to do this. You see Dee kind of unstraps these 2 pins at the side of her corset, and a leather kind of array pops out, and she has these daggers. She pulls these strings, and 4 daggers fall, and as they are about to hit the ground, she very quickly, in almost a tap dancer's agility, knocks them back up. And as she does this, it's kind of a juggling act as she catches each dagger and throws it into a wooden mannequin in the middle. Each blade in a sort of triangle hits, and then the 3rd blade breaks through, and the mannequin's torso splits as the knife falls to the ground. And then she kind of tucks her hair behind her ear and is back to her kind of temporary shy disposition. Zahan taught me a lot, and I needed to prove that I was capable without the abilities that all of you have.
What do you guys do here? I mean...
We help people.
Uh-huh.
The ones the guards aren't paid to help. The ones who are left out of the church or forgotten by the crown. She pulls out a familiar type of coin as she kind of flicks it between her fingers. As she flicks it into the wall in front of her, you think something's about to happen, but it actually just starts to shimmer, and it turns into this mirror as you see Dee seeing a reflection of herself performing different maneuvers in this space. Dee doesn't have any magic. Her abilities are just based off of her drive dedication. Lady M, you find that she is a rogue in nature. Also mechanically, D&D, you know, that sort of thing. But she spends the next few minutes showing you some of what she's learned from presumably Zahan. She doesn't speak too much about the regiment necessarily. Can you give me an Arcana check?
The whole time that she's doing that, I'm watching really silently and observing really hard, and I'm seeing what is a result of, I know, to be hours and hours and hours and hours of hard work that comes from a place of like feeling less than, and that she is craving to feel more powerful in that way. And anyway, that's a 9, but I just wanted you to know why I rolled so poorly is because I was really seeing myself in her and relating to her in that way.
Gotcha.
That's right.
I will say, Lady M, Betty, the player, knows that everyone else is getting their kind of like training sequence, right? What Lady M doesn't know is that as you are watching Dee do these different exercises, something that isn't made apparent to you based off of your Arcana check, the shadow that was following you does not attack in this moment. But the shadows that Dee leaves on the stone and the grass and the wood as she jumps is observed and stored in your mother's whip. As Lady M, these rogue-like abilities are being stolen by you in this moment.
Wait, does Dee still have them?
Dee still has them.
Oh, good. I was like, I don't want to take them from her.
But in an ironic representation of what Dee is working for and fighting for, everything that has taken her presumably weeks and months to learn, you feel a familiar energy that stems from your mother's training as your hand touches the hilt of the whip. You feel this through presumably your shadow magic, the ability to do this same level of sneakery. And Lady M, if you were more attuned to your magic, you might have seen, but the training ground that you and Dee spend time in is completely shrouded in shadow as stuff goes on. That being said, we cut to Nortia.
And Gunnar, who you had followed him off away from the table. And I will say for a few moments, however long you would like to wait, Gunnar sits on the edge of the beach, just kind of like looking out into the water.
Nortia waits a few moments and she kind of watches him. And then she slowly approaches. And she looks at him and she says, "Teach me. Yes, if there is something I have learned in my life, it is that you do not gain knowledge or skill or anything valuable in this world if you cannot recognize when someone is better at something than you are. You seem so scared that anybody could hurt me. So if you don't want me hurt, teach me."
He stands from where he's sitting. You see that his blade is strewn along the sand. He unclips the armor that covers his shoulders and his cape falls. Do you still have the dagger?
Nordia pulls her like split skirt a little to the side, and tucked in her little like book satchel leg thing is the dagger, and she pulls it out and she twirls it between her fingers.
Strike me.
As you wish. And Nordia lunges at him.
Give me an attack roll.
Oh my god. 17 plus 5, 23.
Nordia, for about an hour, Gunnar has you repeatedly, lunge and make certain knife strikes. And for most of it, he's able to dodge. And as you're going, there's moments where at first you think he's toying with you, but you see that like each time you lunge and become a little more disgruntled, that like the sand kicks up and the two of you are going back and forth. And at the end of it, you're standing in an area that is actually like, it is a circle that has dipped a couple inches from how much you've been going back and forth. And then right at the end, there's a moment where your dagger makes purchase right in his shoulder. You have both hands on it, and both of you are breathless.
Well then, I thank you. And she pulls it out and she places her hand where the dagger was for a second, and then she looks at it and she looks up at Gunnar and she slowly lets her hand fall.
As your hand falls, you're collecting your breath. Gunnar, in that moment, stood completely still. And as he slowly kind of recollects his breath, waits for the wound to trickle and then to stop, and it just kind of covers his chest. I'll help how I can. I just hope that next time it'll be. And as he does this, he leans over and like starts putting back on his equipment. He's avoiding like the bloody aspect. It's like, I should get this checked. I am sorry for hurting you or getting close to hurting you. Hopefully this is the last time you ever need to take it out on me, my lady. And he walks up the beach.
Wait. She grabs his arm. I will fight by your side if you fight by mine. And I vow to you that unless something incredibly unexplainable happens, I will never hurt you again. And if I do, my duty is yours, Gunnar.
There's a moment where the beach is the only, like before this you heard people in the distance, doing various exercises, trainings, that sort of thing, spells in the distance. But in this moment, it is just the sound of the surf. And he tries to hide a smile for a moment, but he side glances towards him. He's like, oh, this is just training. It's but a flesh wound. I'll be fine. And before you can see his face starting to turn a little pink, he very quickly, shuffles off.
Nordia, kind of a little flushed, a little not sure how she got the confidence to say that, starts writing down in her book, and writes, I thought that maybe
learning more about the man from the Reckoning would help me with my search. But I think it's helping me in other ways. And then she closes it.
I'm gonna kill both of you. I'm very hot.
Yarrow, your training is there is no like pretense of friendly banter or whatever. This gnome is just shooting stuff at you, and like the two of you spend a good evening just throwing all sorts of stuff. And like Yarrow, this like it's like using a group of muscles that you've never used before, as far as like, the magic and stuff goes. But you find that as the two of you are throwing stuff at each other, there's a moment right before the end where at the beginning the fire and the ice and the different elemental castings that this little gnome is throwing at you like is overwhelming. You learn how to kind of shield and dodge and deflect and shoot back, but there's a moment where the time that it takes to respond seems to slow. And throughout the evening, it seems as if this gnome woman starts to throw spells at quarter frames. And there's actually a moment where the gnome has to fully command you to stop because you're standing in the middle of this little courtyard and the runes are completely gone. And the stone is completely turned to powder. And your horns are glowing, and the bag of marbles at your side are glowing. And Yarrow, up to this point, has been more of a, we'll say, timid. May not be the right word, but not as
unsure.
Unsure, right? Yarrow, there's a moment where everyone that is going to and fro training and stuff, every caster and everyone that is typically around this area has stopped to watch the amateur duel that kind of naturally formed between the two of you. And Anya is hiding behind the only rock that is still solid in the area, and you realize that your shirt and the material that you are wearing has mostly been flung to your side, and Yarrow is completely shirtless. And yeah, everyone is talking about it.
Your turn, bitch.
My turn. Yeah, I think like it takes him a moment to realize that like, oh wow, that like I can do that kind of stuff, and over time definitely kind of gain the confidence and kind of just stops whatever magic is happening. It just, I don't think they say anything at first. It's just that like awe, I guess, of like, oh wow, that's like a lot of magic. Like, but I think eventually they're just like, thank you for helping.
For helping?
Training.
Anya looks around and she's like, next time I imagine I will need... Whoa. Okay.
He starts following her gaze. She's like, was that you or me?
Yarrow, as you look around, like the stone pillars that formed kind of almost a coliseum type atmosphere around you, the roof and the pillars are completely destroyed, but in this moment, like, you realize that somehow your magic has suspended each of these stones in time. And she looks at you, she's like, we're gonna have to be very careful, okay? I need you to wait to drop it until I can get these others out of here. You see there's like a couple other like younger magic users and stuff, like looking at you, pure terror. on their face. She's like,
Okay.
Yarrow, look at me. And she's very short, right? So she's like, down here, look at me. And she does a quick kind of like flick with her hands, and a white tunic kind of like pops up on you. She's like, I need you to hold. Give me 3 seconds, okay?
Okay. And yeah, they're gonna stay completely still.
Give me a check with your spellcasting modifier to see.
Oh,
if
the modifier, or
Yeah.
okay. 14. Is that okay? It's like in the middle-ish.
Yarrow, you are trying to hold it as y'all are backing out, and you get really close to where you think the edge of it is, and as you're like, okay, everyone's out, I got it, you let it drop, and you realize that about 20 feet above you there is a golf ball sized piece of stone that just comes down and it hits you right on the temple, just right above the eye. Gives you like just a solid, like it's gonna, like without proper healing or whatever, it's gonna grow bad. But everyone is out. You do feel leagues better with your magic now, but you're probably done for the day. In kind of
Yeah, it's probably tiring.
In dealing with all the runes and everything, you actually did start kind of burning into your like magical ability, so you feel like a level of exhaustion that's just like, oh boy. Anya turns to you and she's like, you look like you need to wash up.
That would be good. And a nap, maybe.
The salt falls are beautiful this time of day. Don't have too much fun. She kind of like taps you where it would be like a tap on the back, but because she's so short, it's like on the back of your leg. It's like, anyway, and she kind of walks off. At this point, we pan over to Dianthus.
Oh, Lord.
In leaving the table, it is you and KAAL, correct?
Correct.
What do you say to him as the two of you leave this space?
I mean, we got up really abruptly, right? He just kind of smacked me and said, go.
Yes.
So we are in danger.
He pushes you further. He's like, I need you to put this on. And so they get to a point where there's like martial training, like there's practice wooden swords and like leather armor and stuff, and he takes off like most of his stuff, kind of puts it aside and puts on a simple, leather training, and for a second he thinks about putting it on, and then he just leaves it. He's left just with his like white tunic and his pants, and he's like, me and you are going to do some fencing training.
Why?
Because I need an excuse to get you away from, and he like looks behind you, and there's a couple people that are not so casually following the two of you.
That's nice.
I need you to follow me this way. And he like tosses you a wooden sword. He's like, hurry up, let's go, and walks off.
Can I subtly try to look back at the people following us, so if I can see their faces or anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Give me, I'll say perception. Pretty obvious.
14.
Whereas most of the people here are pretty open, they're showing themselves, that sort of thing. There is a half giant, is obviously the bigger person in the group. Very big, like 7 foot tall, just really big, bald. But he is wearing a mask, which seems kind of counterintuitive, because if anyone knows this guy, you know who he is.
Yeah.
But you don't know this guy, so okay, fine, whatever. And then 2 figures with black cloaks completely hidden. They realize, though, they clock that you see them and kind of walk a different direction. Towards probably like the stables, that sort of thing. But on a 14, you don't recognize them. You don't like.
Okay.
There's not enough to gather there.
Okay. I'm gonna follow Cal. Did he give me like the stuff he's wearing now? Like take off your armor, put on this tunic and stuff?
Pretty much. It was more of like
Cool.
the physical equipment, like the wooden swords, like
Okay.
pieces, because some of y'all have more magical and badass armor and material than the others. So this is kind of how y'all are supposed to like train, that sort of thing.
Can I take this armor off normally?
You can try.
I can try.
Mm-hmm.
I'll attempt it.
Uh-huh. Can you give me, and this is fun because I homebrewed this. Can you give me an Arcana check?
10.
As you are walking, Cal kind of turns. There's a probably a 15, 20 foot tall boulder, large rock. And as he turns the corner, you see that there is a waterfall with stones that come out of the water. And Cal is there, in his tunic, some water coming up, with his blade out. Dianthus, as you are, you have in your hand like the bundle of equipment that he gave you. You are going, and as you go to unclip it, it comes off, but there's a moment of resistance, and you feel in your chest almost like a gasp, but not of surprise, more of just like as if it pains someone. But the clasp does come undone, and your armor turns to that fine black powder that you've seen before, and it falls. And Dianthus, as you kind of step out, you look down, and you only have your simple tunic on and pants, but your armor is gone.
This gone?
No.
Okay.
To my understanding, that is something that you put together, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, no, that is not gone. It's just the armor from your death suit is
perfect.
Is gone.
Good to know. Cool. That's gonna take him off guard a little bit, because he hasn't worn this armor this long before, so he doesn't remember the last time he had to properly take it off. And the last time it was off was when he tranced, and he didn't feel like that. So that's off-putting, but he will step up to Cal. Are we by the water, or is it just like we're in the space where the waterfall is, but we're not near it?
Let me see if I understand what you're saying. So basically, the clearing, you come out, and it's like a swimming area.
Okay.
But there is a stage of it. So, half of it is essentially a pool, and then the other half is rocks that are meant to train fighters in uncomfortable territory.
I got you.
As you see that, though, Cal actually drops the wooden sword and he's like, "You're going to want to keep your blade. I just did that for the prying eyes."
Okay. Do you have yours?
He does, and so he draws his blade, and it's the same kind of blue, the blue hue that you've seen before. And in that moment, you typically, right, like sword training, you're studying techniques and jabs and that sort of thing. But most of this, right, is Cal giving the two of you a moment to talk. And so as you step onto the stone under the waterfall, you notice that there's a subtle roar as the water kind of comes over, hits the rocks. So the two of you are actually able to yell at each other, but it's enough to where you get the idea that you can have a conversation in this space.
And no one can overhear it.
Just the two of you. Yeah, and that you notice oh, that's why Cal has brought me.
Got it.
Give me an attack roll. Just for the purposes of what this looks like.
A little bit of flavor. Natural 20. I'm taking a picture.
Just for my mental, what does that come out to? The nat 20 for what?
That's for my sword attack. Then total, that's 24. Gotta make it look real, right? Gotta make this look legit.
So the two of you, for the entirety of your conversation, I'll say, are just going ham. It's like both of you have a lot of pent-up questions and trauma, and Dianthus, I'll say that even though you haven't dealt with as much of your actual death issues, maybe with KAAL, y'all have probably fenced before.
Oh yeah,
And so
without a doubt.
the water itself is meant to keep the two of you inconspicuous. However, the level of intensity of like your blades just like cracking, and the pool itself starts to. It's interesting because most of KAAL's magic and energy comes out as almost like storm and thunder, and yours has a death undertone to it. But that combination with a nat 20 and with like KAAL's roll, the two of you are going blow for blow, and the water itself is deeper than it normally is. It is massive, more than it usually is. The waterfall comes down with such a force that if the two of you weren't so experienced at what you do, you would be losing your footing. But for hours, the two of you just go blow for blow, never really getting a moment over the other, or so you think. And at the very end, you come down, and KAAL brings up his blade, lunges down, and with a nat 20, you completely just disarm. Just like sword flies off, and KAAL is standing there like, oh, well, damn. And he kind of like sits back down, and the water kind of like dies down with y'all. You're still standing, but he's just like,
Don't act surprised.
sit. We can talk now. I need a moment.
I will sit down next to him.
And Dianthus, at this moment, what do you think? What questions do you think that you have for KAAL?
The one I've asked twice: are we currently, right now, in immediate danger of anybody?
You see, he looks off past the pond to where you can't really see, like, because of the way that that stone is at the entrance, you can only really see, like, a path, and, like, it's kind of farther in the distance. This is kind of the outskirts of the training areas. And KAAL, he looks at you and he's like, look, Dianthus, it's been a while. It's been a long while. It's easy to feel safe when you're some of the, for lack of a better word, some of the elders. And when no one has their magic, that makes it a little easier to know that people aren't in danger. Some of these people I trust completely. Others I don't know that I know well enough to say. You're very tough, Dianthus. You're probably stronger than I am, if I'm being honest.
Well, one of us still has their sword.
As you say this, he kind of like puts a hand out, and the blade like returns to him. You've learned well. I think part of it, Dianthus, is I think you have more training than I do. And you get for a moment that he's insinuating some of the things that you've seen. I'm not here to cast judgment, Dianthus, and I know that the gods are unfair.
I think you're right.
All I can offer is what I know and who I know, and it will be very interesting to see how your magic develops. As he says this, Dianthus, he looks down, and the moss and the, typical barnacles, crustacean stuff that is around a rock pond area. Everything has kind of like died off where the two of you have fought. You feel a lot stronger than you did earlier.
Al, what if I don't want it to get better? What if I don't want this?
If you don't want this, and like both of your blades glow in this moment. It's like, do you mean the power? Do you mean the destruction? Do you mean the death?
I forgot a lot more than I thought I did. And it's starting to come back, and I don't know if I want to remember whoever that was. The stronger this gets, and I don't know if I want that. I like what I have here now. It's lonely, sure, but it's safe. It's been safe. That bitch stayed up there.
Dianthus, if I could have traded places with you, I would have. And I understand the desire, the instinct to want to hold it back. But you have held back more for longer than the rest of them. It's not fair, but they are going to need someone who has experience for impulse control, for lack of a better word. I'll do what I can, Dianthus, but there's no getting out of this. Unless you can find a way off of this island, there's no way that we are avoiding what's coming.
The woman in my mausoleum right now. You know her. I killed her. Explain that to me.
The interesting thing with chronomancy, right, is time doesn't respect the laws of man. Hemlock was a dear friend in a past life, but she did something unforgivable. And the gods made sure that she never, until now, stopped paying for it.
What did she do?
Dianthus, there's a moment where KAAL kind of mentally shares a vision with you, and it's similar to when you are thinking back on your memories and they're disjointed and sporadic and you can't gather what it's like. A memory that you're trying to remember someone's face and you can't see their face. You're trying to remember the numbers on a door, but you can't remember the numbers. There is a visual of KAAL in the rain on the deck of a ship. Hemlock is fighting, and the two of them for a moment are back to back, and there's a crew of skeletal undead and Triton folk, and they are going blow for blow with these guys. And for a moment, you see the two smile at each other, and then it jumps, and you see Hemlock with her blade completely jetting from KAAL's chest, and as he coughs up blood and falls off the edge of the ship, Hemlock stands there, and the crew all turn and the ship goes away, and you see for a moment before KAAL like jolts, you see a younger lifeless KAAL floating in the water. As this happens, Donna, the woman from earlier, the Aasimar approaches the pool. And up until this point, Kaal, he was tired and fighting and reckless and all these sorts of things. But in this moment, he's holding his head in his hands. And you see that Donna actually walks across the water, puts a hand on his shoulder, and there's a slight glow, and he seems to heal a little bit. She looks to you and is like, sometimes betrayal is not exactly what you expect. And you realize at this moment Kaal has actually passed out from the exhaustion of fighting you and sharing this thought and experiencing this. And so she picks him up and is like, I will get him mostly back together by dinner. We'll talk. And this time she actually walks on the stones around the edge of the pond, goes back, and Dianthus, is just you in this pond until Yarrow walks up, very, very dirty and disheveled Yarrow from earlier, but it is just a very stark visual of those two leaving, Yarrow at the edge, and Dianthus standing, shirt completely drenched, hair, mask just framed, and Dianthus, you feel more powerful than you have felt in your memory, but you also feel so much smaller.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, Yarrow, buddy. I'm not calling out to you or nothing. You're gonna stumble upon this mess of a man right now. Not necessarily gonna hide, but
He was probably going to say hi. He was walking up.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, he can. Go for it. Go for it, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably walking up. So it's I think I'm starting to get the hang of this magic thing. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be, and then kind of slowly drops and is like, oh, is everything okay? You're good?
Yeah, I'm great. I feel great.
Deception check.
So is it? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, you can insight. Yeah.
Roll, deception, insight.
That's a 3.
Nat
I'm
1.
not.
Nat 1, dog.
So
He's not great.
I will say, for the sake of 2 very low rolls, Yarrow, as you're explaining, I'm getting a hold of this magic stuff, there's a level of excitement and just way that you're kind of running out. You still have kind of that glow to you, and as you walk out, the water is suspended in time, which means that as you step across it, the surface tension doesn't break, and the waterfall actually, as you get closer to Dianthus, the roar and the patter and the sound and the whisper and the water is actually suspended, and you are standing directly in front of Dianthus. Everything is suspended in time. 2 of you are standing there, and Dianthus is a powerful yet defeated man in this moment.
It is about everything. Something in particular? Did I do something? I'm sorry about the marble thing. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. If that's what this is about.
Tapped over your mouth again.
The
No, I'm not. It's nothing to do with you. It is to do with me. And he's gonna remove his hand. You saw that memory of mine. Yeah. What do you think of me now?
I think you're Dianthus. I consider you a friend, though I don't know if you would think the same of me, but why?
I thought that death was something that followed me. And I'm now starting to think it is more than that. That it is a part of me. And that can be dangerous.
I mean, sure, but seems like there's danger everywhere.
Does it scare you? Do I scare
I
you?
mean, no. I mean, you brought me back from death. No, so you're not scary and you're not bad, and if this stuff doesn't have to do with...
I am bad. And I have to be okay with that. Because that's how I got here.
Unless it was something you just had to do, it doesn't mean you're bad. We don't know what the context of all that was. The way I know you, you have been helping me for how many years? You didn't need to. You could have easily turned me away and said, no, go ahead, let your brother die. And someone who's bad wouldn't go through all that trouble.
Hemlock killed KAAL. Hemlock went to the moon. Hemlock was in that Coliseum with me. How do you think I got up there? If she had to do something like that to get up there.
I don't know, but then...
I don't know either, but it can't have been good.
No, but then do we need to get back if she's at the church?
Oh, I am planning to drive my sword through her fucking skull when we get there, but until then, we are stuck here.
I mean, we can find a way back. I'm sure someone knows. KAAL or the others, or...
He needs a minute.
As y'all are speaking, Yarrow, you have experienced a level of magic and ability that you haven't experienced up till today. However, as the two of you are talking, I will say with your very low checks on each other, you don't realize that the water around you had been suspended in time. And so the two of you were talking. But as you spoke to each other, y'all had stepped out, and the two of you had very slowly, almost as if it was like oil through water, gone under the surface of the water. And you felt as if the quiet was from the magic that had suspended time, which partially it was. But the two of you realize in a moment of emotional turmoil, followed immediately by a fight or flight response. Yarrow, as Dianthus brings up that, Hemlock, who, did this terrible thing, is with your brother, your magic stops, time goes back to normal, and the water starts to rush in around you, and the two of you are quite literally being thrashed at the bottom of this waterfall.
Right.
Nice!
Hey.
Nice!
I fucking swimming. That's like a...
Look, it's alright. I'm gonna be fine. I don't have to breathe. You, though.
Depending on how the two of you are wanting to get out of this, I need a dex or a strength saving throw.
Don't do that to me.
I wanna grab him
you know I'm shrimpy.
So would it be strength if I want to grab him?
Yeah, so
swim?
if you're trying to swim, it's like a dex. If you're trying to grab, it's a strength.
Okay, good. Because I was gonna say, dex is better. That's a 10.
21.
Oh god.
I'm the tank dog. Come on.
I know. I have a -1 to strength. It's a struggle.
So, I'm not quite sure how much Dianthus would go swimming. But
not at all.
I was about to say, in this moment, Yarrow is the more agile, long swimmer bod type. And for a moment, Yarrow, you're actually able to swim out and you feel as if you are getting out from under it. But if you've ever been underwater and not known the direction that you're swimming in, you have a moment of like, oh crap, I've been swimming the wrong way. And Dianthus, on your check, you can see Yarrow diving deeper down into the water. And I'm going to say on your opposed strength check,
Yeah.
I rolled pretty bad for the two of you.
Great.
Dianthus, if you had to breathe,
Yeah.
this would be a problem. However,
Right.
the two of you, after a couple minutes, right, maybe KAAL or Donna or someone would have come back to see, what was happening. Actually, I'll say this. Who do we think is more likely to have stumbled upon the pond?
So, yeah, I was going to say Nortia.
All right. I agree. I see that. So, Nortia, as you finish up your diary entry, you walk up from the beach, kind of surveying stuff. You don't hear the waterfall, which is kind of strange because you heard it on the way down. You don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden you hear an extra like rowdy, like just onslaught of water, and you turn and you see Yarrow and Dianthus go down. Because for you, Yarrow's magic is time. It's all like clockwork stuff. So you see the two of them standing suspended in time and then are immediately shot down. And in the matter of a minute, the two of them are kind of like thrown around the water. And as you maybe in a sense of hurry or worry, you come up, you see Dianthus and a unconscious Yarrow wash up onto the edge of the pond. Dianthus, there's a moment of, because it was a lot and it was something that maybe you're not prepped for, you are completely like frozen, but not in a sense of like time as it was before. You are clutching Yarrow, but because you don't have the strength to let go in this moment. And Yarrow is unconscious.
Man.
All right.
Nortia sees this and starts sprinting. And while she's sprinting, she takes this top like canvasy layer of her skirt and basically rips it around and immediately puts it over the two of them to like bring them some sort of warmth. And she looks at them and starts just calling for KAAL, for Lady M, for anybody else.
Give me a medicine check.
Got it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, don't look at us like that.
Did you?
It's not to 5. But it wasn't a 1, it was a 3. It was 3.
It's a 3, okay.
Don't write down I got a 1 in a medicine check. I'm scared of your little rule thing.
So we'll say Nortia, the fabric helps a little bit, but there's a sense of just like all out, like, oh, like you're out of your depth, no idea. You start yelling, and I'll say at this point, Lady M, it probably takes Nortia, it takes you a couple seconds to get anyone's attention because of the roar of the water behind you and everything else, but you do eventually get alerted to what is going on.
Nortia is just whispering over these two. What have you gotten yourself into?
What is this? What happened?
I don't know. The water's soft, the water goes, they're drowned.
Dianthus.
I got him. I have him. I got him.
Does Dianthus have him? Is there any healing happening at all? Or
There's no healing, no. Yeah, but I have him. I have him. It's
Yeah, I
literally
thought you're all
this.
out.
I have him.
Dianthus, you have to stand.
You can't.
let me help. Let me help.
Don't touch me.
I won't. Let me help Yarrow. I'm gonna just put my hand on top of Yarrow's hand and cast a. Does Cure Wounds help with drowning?
No idea. No idea.
I guess we'll find
We'll
out.
say, give me a medicine check.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, good.
Okay, you're a little more in your depth here.
Oh, good. Okay. Come on. Hey, 13 plus 2 is a 15.
Okay.
I'll say, Lady M, you do this, and there's a moment of like nothing's happening, and then Yarrow spits up water, just like blown back, and so the two of you are in that moment of like Yarrow's awake, kind of thrown back, just coughing up.
Guess I don't have the heck of that magic, but I thought, no.
Yarrow, you need to stop doing this.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I thought I had the hang of the magic thing again. I guess I really don't yet, but thank
Will
you.
you both please step away from the waterfall?
Sure. So, in the aftermath of Yarrow almost dying again in a different way, I'm so sorry, Yarrow. Dianthus is probably freaking out a little bit. I think it's fair
I'm
to
in a
say.
pout corner. I've chosen a corner of the field and I'm just sitting there silent.
So, how do we want to do this? Nordia, do you want to talk to Dianthus? Do you want to talk to Yarrow? Lady M, what are we thinking? Who wants to take which conversation? We'll
I
say.
think Nordia would go up to Yarrow first for sure.
Okay.
Because little guy's just been suffering, really put through the ringer. Oh my gosh. Nordia walks up to you, and at first it looks like she is examining you, kind of sizing you up, but then she reaches for your hand and she beckons it.
I imagine he probably had a drink in his hands and kind of moves it to the side to put his
and
hand up. Jesus.
Nordia cusps her hand over. That's the right word, right?
Cusps?
Yeah.
Cusps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clasp?
Or clasp.
Claps her other hand on top, and says, "You, Yarrow, are very brave for still standing after everything that has happened to you today." And she opens her hands back up, and much like when she was little, a good distraction is if you feel something somewhere else, it takes away pain, right? So she blows on Yarrow's hands to try and make him focus on that. I hate to ask, Yarrow.
You can ask whatever.
Just I think I might be a little tiny bit confused by you and Dianthus and the things I have witnessed today.
I'm confused how.
You seem to trust him. I just want to make sure. Dianthus is not a danger to you, is he?
Oh, no. He has done nothing but help.
Yes, I can see that, and if you trust Dianthus, then I trust Dianthus. I just want to make sure. It just seems to be around every time you get hurt, so
But he's also there to pick me back up. As are all of you. And unless you have other reasons to not trust him, and I'm not here, if you don't trust him, who am I to say?
Yarrow, I
Have your
said it
reasons.
once, I'll say it again. If you trust him, I trust him.
I do. I really do.
Nordia!
Oh my god.
Nordia wants to say something to you and goes to reach for something in her satchel, but she decides it's not for you. It's for someone else. and she puts her hand to her chest and she says, "Forget I asked. Forget I asked."
I mean, it's a reasonable line of questioning. We make sure our group is trustworthy more or less. Some more than others. Sorry, there's a really big bug. Hold on. Thanks. We're good.
Nortia, as you kind of with a little bit of this new energy that you have, you soothe Yarrow a little bit. But you also realize KAAL kind of come over and give Yarrow this mug that Yarrow, you find whenever you feel the need to take a swig, it fills back up.
No, no.
We getting
Get
drunk.
wasted.
And so we see Nordia kind of, giving a soothing touch to Yarrow, and then just kind of like, in the Nortia fashion, just kind of like clocks that. And then just like as we pan away from Yarrow and Nortia, Yarrow's just kind of like looking at this. Can you give me a charisma save, Yarrow?
Yeah. I think I am okay at those. Yeah.
Get a 1.
Not a 1.
Damn it.
1. It's an 11.
An 11. Yarrow, I'm gonna say on an 11, you don't shy away from KAAL's fairly obvious idea that you probably need a drink. And Nordia, you spend the next few minutes trying to slow Yarrow down, but also he's doing his thing. He's dealing with his pain
We all
in a
have our
certain type
coping
of way
mechanisms.
today. We do see M kind of walk to Dianthus.
I see. I think there's a moment where Nordy and I kind of make eye contact, and in like a, you got that? Okay, I'll get Dianthus, right? Like there's a moment of like who's going which way, and seeing that Nordia goes to Yarrow, M is gonna be like, fuck, and start walking over to Dianthus.
Oh, look at us, the 2 bitches.
In the corner, and I'll grab a drink. I'll grab KAAL's drink out of his hand, and then somebody else's drink out of their hand as I'm walking, and hand one to Dianthus.
Dianthus is not going to take it. I think they have been mimicking being in their meditative state. They aren't, but they are pretending in hopes no one would have bothered them. But here you are.
Can I roll? Can I see if I can tell
Yeah,
through your
you know
meditative
what?
state
Go
or
for
not?
it. I'll roll deception.
Okay. Let's see. What would that be for me? Insight?
Yes?
We'll
If I'm rolling
say
deception?
insight or perception.
Insight or perception? What am I better at? Is the one that I'm gonna roll. Perception. That's a 19.
11.
So
Dianthus. Dianthus.
What?
Dianthus.
What?
Take the drink.
No. I'm good.
I'll just kind of set it on the ground next to you. Are you sitting?
Yeah, I get in a kneeling position when I meditate, so I'm like that.
I'll sit down next to you. I'll put the cup in front of you. How are you feeling?
How do you think I'm feeling?
I love Dianthus and them so much. I love them. I can't get over it. I just thought I would check on you because I was, we were all pretty banged up.
I have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be fine. Is Yarrow okay?
Yarrow's okay.
Then yeah, I'm fine.
Do you know what happened back there?
The waterfall.
Before that, in the cave.
What, Zahan? I remember... Yeah, I remember kicking his ass, and he hit Yarrow, and things are blurry after that, but I brought them back. I remember that, and then we walked and we ended up here.
Have you ever brought someone back like that before?
No. And when he says that, it's like he's realizing, no, I haven't. Didn't know I could. What?
I'm telling you this because it can't happen again. You turned into something. Something overtook you. It was dark and emotionless. It was nothing. And did that happen before or after you hit Yarrow?
That was right before, I think.
And then
I stuck my hand in his chest and killed him.
Right. Yeah. And then you snapped out of it and came back. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Lady M, can you give me a performance check?
Oh, fuck. What are you
Girl,
performing?
what do you mean?
What are you performing over there?
What are you saying? That's hysterical. 22.
Lady M, I'm going to say, just because this is it's a big moment. As you explain this, Dianthus, you can't really put into words how, but as Lady M explains this, and we'll say, and the reason I had you roll performance, that it's kind of a combination of your telepathy and your prestidigitation. Dianthus, you see the moment that Lady M is talking about. Through Lady M's eyes, you see what you did to Yarrow. Both the gruesome and the healing.
Do I see when I hit her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
I'll add just for flavor too.
Yeah.
When M is struggling to describe it verbally, she'll just tap on your brain and show it all to you.
And then for you, Caleb, I think when I was fighting to bring Yarrow back, I saw like a statue of me or something, right? Like when I was fighting for Yarrow's soul or whatever. Does this figure that I'm seeing now through M's eyes, does that match whatever the fuck I saw in that moment?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh. And that was on Obus. Okay. Okay. What the fuck is going on? Ooh.
And then when I'm done, I'll finish my drink and put it on the ground in front of me.
I didn't know. I don't know what that was.
I know. That's why it scares me.
DM, before that happened, where I blacked out or whatever, did I feel anything right before that would have given the inkling something weird's happening to me, or was it just like I blinked and Yarrow was dead in my hands?
I would say, Dianthus, the only thing you would feel, and I think part of it is because your meditation is almost a plea to reconnect with your body. Because Dianthus, knowing your birth is a strange
Creation.
word for it. The creation, the coming of consciousness of being for you, you don't feel super connected with your body, except for when the mark on your chest gives its sickly glow. That is probably the only physical feeling or impulse that you would have received before.
I can't promise that that isn't going to happen again. There's a lot that I'm relearning, figuring out. It's fucking magic, right?
Right.
And
From where, though? What is that, Dianthus?
I think it's death. It's death. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Death, like the concept? A person? An entity?
You've met them already, It's a person.
Have we?
You
Have
met,
we met
you
them
in
already?
the tavern. In the tavern. In the tavern.
Oh, shit!
In the tavern.
Yep.
Shit! You're right. You're right. Well, shit! What do they want with you?
Dianthus is not gonna answer that. He's gonna uncuff, or I guess just, if it's basically just like sand, have one of his gauntlets, his arm things fall away. And, you know, he doesn't really ask, but he will hold out his hand to M. Like, can I have hers for a moment? And press her hand to his wrist so that she can feel that he has no pulse. I was
She'll
brought
just
back.
squeeze.
I don't know why.
She'll squeeze your wrist twice and then let go. We'll figure it out.
Will we? There's a lot going on. I don't think my personal issues are top priority here.
I think when your personal issues kill Yarrow, then it does become top priority for all of us. Would you disagree?
No. But I can bring them back. Hopefully that means I can bring all of you back if anything happens, so.
It is... Although I'm sure being uncontrolled is... That feeling is torturous. Your magic is valuable, Dianthus. You are valuable to this group.
Even if I might snap and kill you all.
You can bring us back.
I can bring you back. I can't get drunk. You can take that glass away.
I don't think I can get drunk either, now that I think about it.
Give it to KAAL. I know he can get drunk.
I took it from KAAL. I'll give it back to him, and I'll take it in front of you. As she stands up, she's gonna kind of put her hand on your shoulder to help her get up.
Can I get a nature check from both of you?
Oh, fuck.
Ooh, I was gonna say something meaningful. Oh, natural 20! Yay!
14! Yay!
Lady M, say what you were going to say, and then I have a transition here for you guys.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just use, I'll kind of use your arm to get up and just say, take a big old swig of the drain the glass. And I'll say, I know that feels like
What?
to be tormented like that.
How do you live with it?
I'm still figuring that out. So if you figure it out, come tell me.
You'll be the first to know.
I'll walk away. I'll go back to the group.
I will say, as the two of you walk away, Dianthus, you turn back to presumably, Nortia or Yarrow, something like that. And I'm going to say on a 14, you think that, similar to how she was explaining this story, you see a shadowy figure kind of dissipate, as if it was watching you guys.
Oh!
To Dianthus, this comes off as Lady M visualizing the form that you had taken.
Oh.
And as the smoke disappears, Dianthus, you turn away. Lady M, you recognize the form that hovers in the tree line and recedes. Lady M is going to do something. We talked a little bit about who you would like to talk to next.
Nortia sees Lady M walking away from Dianthus, and she looks at Yarrow, who she does not think she can help or control anymore. And she puts her hand back on her satchel, and starts walking over to Dianthus while unhooking and pulling out a book. And when she's walking up to you, you can see this book is loved, not just in the way that like the spine is cracked, but there's tabs and little post-it notes sticking out of it, right? Like this is a heavily annotated book. And Nortia walks up to you and she says, you do not look like you would like to talk, and that is okay. You do not have to speak to me. But I think that maybe you might need this. And she hands you a book titled The Gentle Kiss of Rain by Atlas Evergreen. And she looks at you and at the book. She looks at Yarrow, and then she walks away.
What the hell? He's very confused. He's been given gifts before when he doesn't know what to do with them, so he's just gonna tuck it away, put his own little pack, and I think at that point, I can see Yarrow's getting wasted. I can't talk to them right now anyway, even if I wanted to. So I think Dianthus is gonna start looking for a way out, like a way to get back to the church, something like that. It's been a night, and he's done.
Lady M, you feel not a tap, but you sense someone is behind you. And you turn and you see KAAL was about to tap your shoulder and had like pulled back. He's like, can we talk?
Sure.
He gestures kind of not like too far from the fire, but because y'all are watching, making sure more like towards
And I'm just gonna
line.
clock. Yeah, I'm gonna make eye contact with Dianthus, hopefully, to be like, I will be right back.
I got you.
Thanks.
So, Lady M, you and KAAL start to walk, and he stops kind of halfway down the beach line, basically to show like, okay, this is the farthest we'll go. We'll talk and then go back, sort of deal. I imagine you have questions.
It's a wonder how often you are correct, KAAL.
Well, you are one of the only ones who think that at the moment, but I'll take it.
I was hoping to catch your ear. It's been so crazy recently, we haven't had a moment to talk.
There's been a lot of talking today. What would you like to know?
How are you doing?
I and he actually does. He's holding like a little tankard of meat. He like takes a drink. He's like, I am overwhelmed, if I'm being honest. This was a lot more. Y'all are a lot more than I was told to expect. But I'm alright, I guess.
Well, and Emma's gonna look back to where they came from. I think we have a few moments. If you just wanted to sit there at the water, I'm in no rush to go back.
He looks out towards the surf, and for a moment, the mist from the water, there's a moment of peace, followed by recognition, realization, brought back into the moment. I can't. I thought I could protect all of you, but this is going to be a lot. They're going to need help. But I'm okay with sitting. We pan from the two sitting on the beach.
What none of you see because you're not there, Zahan sits at the table, and he turns his hand to reveal that Dianthus, when you stabbed his meal earlier, you had kind of like raked the inside of his palm,
Oh,
which
sexy.
is why he didn't pick his hand up. A drop of blood falls onto one of the tokens that he has, that each of you also have. And he very simply draws a series of runes around the table. The contracts that I mentioned earlier become deeply soaked and then disappear as a shimmering energy envelops just outside of each of your fields of vision, as it is revealed that you are in physical form still in the garden. Dianthus, it's a little different for you because you can kind of feel this pull happen, and you can't really tell if it's because of your connection with death or your clerical abilities or quite what. But whereas everyone else, Yarrow, Nortia, Lady M, Gunnar, KAAL, Donna, everyone, they all pop back up in the garden. Dianthus, you kind of push through this like haze as you walk into the night. Presumably the church, but you can go wherever.
Church, yeah.
Lady M has a moment with KAAL. Nortia has had their conversations. Yarrow, you are going to have maybe a wicked hangover, depending on the magic of the garden and your friends around you. But for now, I think that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you guys for joining me. And we're going to see just kind of what's in store for you guys from here. Thank you guys, and strangers and friends, we will see you next time.